My name is Mike Nelson. Although I spend the majority of my time on dry land, I make most of my living anywhere from 10 to, 200 feet underwater. Alardia alardi is a little fish of the Triacanthidae family. It's only about, 5.5 inches long, but, well, it's important enough for marine land to send me halfway around the world in search of some living specimens. Alardia lives in the deep waters of the West Indies, and from 1861 to 1925, there was only one in captivity. It was my job to secure a new supply. It was time for a break, so I started for the surface to replenish my air supply. At that same moment, more than 1,000 miles away, a test missile was heading for the ionosphere at about 18,000 miles an hour. There seems little connection between an ICBM streaking through the sky and a little fish with a big name on the floor of the Caribbean. But the connection that developed put me in a very tight spot. A very tight spot. It was just about 26 hours later that things began to happen.
Hi. Hi. You Mike Nelson?
Yeah, that's right.
I'd like to see you for a minute.
Okay, come on aboard.
Thanks.
Yeah. We know one another?
Well, my name's John Sumner. You've worked for my firm before.
Oh, yeah. A little project called World War #2.
Mike, tell me, what do you know about rockets and missiles?
Rockets, missiles. Well, only when I read in the papers, pick up here and there.
If I start talking about the nose cone of a rocket, you know what I mean?
Well, it's the business end of the rocket, isn't it?
That's right. Well, we fired an experimental missile yesterday to test our progress in the development of a nose cone that will survive the plunge back through the Earth's atmosphere, after the rocket's spent. Well, as you probably know, the friction from such a plunge generates enough heat to disintegrate most objects before they strike the Earth. Like the meteor.
Uh-huh.
Well, we think we have a metal that will not only survive the heat, but has enough resistance to protect the internal mechanism. Keep it intact and operating. But there's only one problem.
What's that?
We have to recover the nose cone to find out. And it didn't land where it was supposed to.
Do you know where it did fall?
According to our tracking device, it landed within a few square miles of where we are right now, at the bottom of the ocean.
Oh. Yeah, but a couple of miles, that's a lot of space in the ocean.
I know. It's a tough job, but I've heard if anybody can do it, you can.
Oh, our Navy, much better equipped for that kind of a job than I am.
Well, territorial waters could be involved. See, the Navy can't go poking its nose into some other nation's backyard.
Yeah, I know. Isn't it possible that somebody around here saw it fall?
There's a possibility. And that possibility puts even more pressure on us. That nose cone mustn't fall into the wrong hands. Well, how about it, Mike? We in business?
Well, I need help. Somebody that I can trust. And, I need more equipment.
Well, we've anticipated all the problems. You'll be on the pier tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. Someone will contact you. Okay?
Okay. The next morning, I was on the pier on schedule, waiting for my contact to make himself known. Who would it be? It could be any of these people. I felt that it would be a surprise. It was.
Hello. Are you Mike Nelson?
Yeah?
You're a hard man to find. I've been looking all over for you this morning. I'm Kathy Morton.
How do you do, Miss Norton?
I've been studying photography, and I want to do some underwater pictures. I'll need some expert advice and assistance.
Well, I'm sorry, Miss Norton. I'd really love to help you, but I'm working on an assignment for Marineland of the Pacific, and it's a full-time job.
But my work's really quite good, Mr. Nelson. As a matter of fact, I have a little picture here I'm rather proud of. Took it about 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's a nice shot, Miss Norton. Shows good technique.
I was hoping you'd feel that way.
But you know, you could have all kinds of possibilities as a photographer and still not be able to shoot good pictures underwater. That calls for a special kind of experience. Underwater.
I think I've had enough experience to get by.
How about equipment?
Well, what would I need?
There's certain items. Listen, why don't we get on my boat, huh? I'll see what I have in hand.
Fine.
Our meeting on the pier was kind of on the cloak and dagger side, don't you think?
Well, it'll tell a lot of people that I've hired you to teach me to take underwater pictures.
Yeah. You even have an underwater camera to prove it, huh?
Does look like a camera, doesn't it?
What do you mean, isn't it?
There's a pulsating device in that nose cone we're looking for. If the nose cone survives the heat, it'll send out a signal. That's actually a receiving set to pick up the signals.
Oh, what do you know? Hey, those signals from the nose cone. How far do they carry underwater?
Oh, anywhere from a few hundred yards to a quarter of a mile.
Depending on the conditions, huh?
Mm-hmm. When we get within range, it'll tick like a Geiger counter. The closer we get to the nose cone, the louder that ticking.
You sure threw me a curve, you know that?
Oh?
Yeah. I didn't expect to meet a girl.
Well, I guess they thought it'd cause less suspicion that way.
Yeah, I can buy that, but what if something happens, if we get into trouble?
Don't worry about me. I'm really an expert skin diver. And I teach judo.
A few hours later, we were on our way to cover what Sumner described as a few square miles of ocean floor. A handy job in anybody's language. 5 minutes later, the search was on. The ocean floor is an erratic place. Sometimes flat, sometimes almost mountainous. Every inch of it had to be covered. And up to now, the detector remained as quiet as a tomb. In the excitement, we didn't notice an outboard motorboat riding the waves about a mile from us. There were 3 fishermen in the boat. Or were they fishermen?
They're still submerged. The woman is on the deck waiting for him. Wait a moment. Ah, yes. The man is starting to surface now.
Nothing. Nothing.
To cover the most territory in the shortest possible time, we were alternating our dives. The area kept getting wider and further from shore. Good luck, huh? In the meantime, I discovered that Kathy was no novice at skin diving. Then came the reward of patience and perseverance. The detective picked up a faint ticking noise, which answered a lot of questions. Kathy's instructions were to surface if she got a reaction on the detector. And Kathy knew how to obey instructions.
It's down there. I got a faint signal about 50 yards east of here.
Good, good. I'll go down and find it and tie on a marker buoy. There. Now you watch for the buoy and bring the boat over to me, huh?
All right.
The man is apparently getting ready to make another dive in the same spot. This could be what we're waiting for. Let's get within striking distance.
The detector turned out to be a honey. A few feet in the wrong direction and it pulls you right back. Finally, it led me right to the nose cone of the missile, straight as a homing pigeon. A marker buoy is a handy thing to have around in a case like this. Just tie it to some object and release it. It'll surface and permanently identify your location. I was pinned to the ocean bottom with 6,000 pounds of metal across my legs. But Kathy had no way of knowing that I was pinned solidly to the ocean floor. I wasn't even sure whether or not my legs were broken. Kathy spotted the marker buoy and brought the lock over to it. But she had no way of knowing that I was solidly pinned to the floor of the ocean with only about 10 minutes of air left in my tanks.
Now they're both submerged.
Well, now we should go then.
Yes. Keep going.
I signaled Kathy that I had about 3 minutes of air left in my tank. She signaled back that her tank was full. The 3 minutes of air in my tank would give Kathy time to get to the surface and give me more time to try and free myself. So we exchanged tanks.
There's the marker buoy. And 2 sets of bubbles. Marky, I think you better get aboard their boat in case of emergency. Take us over there.
Then I signaled Kathy to surface and bring down a crowbar. It looked like my only chance. In her anxiety to help me, Kathy didn't notice the men in the outboard motorboat.
No, lady, that's all for you. Stay where you are. I'll have to shoot. Get her!
This man found that it would take some doing to bring Kathy back to the boat when she almost broke his wrist with a crowbar.
Get that woman!
Kathy just managed to fasten the crowbar to the marker buoy line before she turned to fight off the two men. The crowbar slid down the marker buoy line and landed on the ocean floor, but just out of my reach. She put up a real good fight. But finally, with one man hanging to each arm, she was forced to give up.
Bring her here.
I knew that something must have happened to Kathy, or she would have brought the crowbar down herself and given me a hand.
Now, let's not be childish about this. You must understand we have a job to do, and we intend to do it. You have located the nose cone, have you not?
The main question seems to be, what right do these men have to drag me aboard your boat?
Mr. Nelson is down there, isn't he?
Down where?
Down there. Obviously somebody is, or there wouldn't be those bubbles.
All right, I'll tell you the truth. Mr. Nelson is down there, but he's in trouble. If you let me put on my diving gear, I can go down and help him. Then if you have any questions, maybe he can answer them for you.
How deep is he?
About 120 feet.
Can you dive to that depth? No.
Well?
I feel better with you on the surface, and Mr. Nelson unaware that we're waiting for him. I think we just sit tight for a while and see what happens.
Captain Nelson can't stay down there indefinitely. What are you going to do about it? Well, you can't just let him die.
On land, it would have been impossible for me to move the nose cone from the awkward position that I was in. But water gives any object a certain buoyancy. And I had to get that nose cone off my legs, or else. My legs were practically numb, but there were no broken bones. Now, the big question was, what was happening on the surface? From about 40 feet, I could see the bottom of a small boat riding the surface near the marker buoy. And all of a sudden, Kathy's failure to come down and help me made sense. It was then that I remembered Sumner had said the nose cone must not fall into the wrong hands. And the thought occurred to me that if some unfriendly group was waiting for me at the surface, my air bubbles would classify me as a sitting duck. So I tied my diving lung to the marker buoy line and set the valve to allow a little leakage. Then it was up to me to make the surface in one breath. The men were so busy watching the bubble that they didn't notice me climbing aboard my boat. The best answer to this problem was my shark gun.
All right, you guys, put your hands up.
You heard what he said. Put up your hands.
You won't need those oars anymore. Throw them overboard. Kathy, how much gasoline they got?
Pretty low, Mike.
Come on aboard, Kathy. Good job, Kathy. There.
Thank you.
Keep them covered. And make a little claw. X-223 to Happy Friend. X-223 to Happy Friend.
This is Happy Friend. Go ahead, X-223.
Location 13 miles west of Heston Light, outside of all territorial waters. Project X-223 in operation. 3 men in a small boat drifting out to sea will need help and investigation. Over.
Over and out.
While the outboard motorboat was slowly drifting towards the setting sun, we set out to complete our job. When we went down again to bring up the tip of the nose cone, it was a mighty comforting feeling to know that when we got to the surface, we'd find a United States destroyer waiting for us, and not 3 gentlemen who use bullets for bait.
Hi, I'm Lloyd Bridges, inviting you to join us for another action-packed story of underwater adventure 1 week from today.
So absorbing do I find the sea that I often spend my playing as well as working hours in it. But sometimes a turnabout from pleasure to peril can occur in a few minutes, like that beautiful day that I was hunting abalone with my friends off Lorient Cliff. Above us, an inner tube held a net and waited for our catch. 20 feet below, Doug, his wife Mella, and I were swimming happily, enjoying the beauty of the sea. I was leading the way as we hunted along the submerged face of the cliff. We had no way of knowing that within minutes, we would be the ones who were hunted by the world's most savage monster, the killer whale. It was easy to see that Doug and Mala were very much in love. And if I hadn't been leading the party, I'm afraid that they would have forgotten all about abalone. I was enjoying the search very much. There, I spotted a couple of big ones. I called Doug and Mallett to pry off the shells and would have looked for more. But a glance at my underwater watch told me that we had only a few minutes of air left. Near us was a narrow entrance to an underwater cave. While they were busy with the abalone, I turned to examine the cave and found that it was small, without air, and held nothing but a few frightened fish. Meanwhile, my friends had done a good job on the shells and were pleased with their catch. I gave a signal, and we surfaced to the net.
When we did 10, I don't know.
At least 10 pounds, anyway, huh?
Mike, you see the way she find that air, boss? Sure hate to ever come after me with an air, boss.
Yeah, me too. That's quite a muscle you got there. What's the matter?
Shark!
That's no shark, that's a killer whale. Look at that high curved fin.
Oh, Doug!
Don't move. Can't see us, but they can feel vibrations.
Maybe we can make it ashore, huh?
Now, that's a sheer wall.
He's coming closer.
Maybe you won't attack.
Maybe he will, you never know. That cave I was just in down below. He's too big to get in after us.
We only have 6 or 7 minutes of air left.
We'll have to take our chance. Come on now, feet first. Don't splash.
As we hurried to the cave, I again led the way along the same cliff. But this time, it seemed like an entirely different place. The height of that fin told me that the killer must be at least 30 feet long. I hoped that he was after other game, but I knew that killer whales preferred warm-blooded prey, and often human beings. As I motioned Doug and Mella into the cave, I was still hoping that the whale hadn't noticed us. But he had. He was coming at us like a giant torpedo. Fortunately, I'd figured right. The cave opening was too small for him. But we had just slipped out of his reach, temporarily. I wondered how long the whale would wait outside for us. I knew that in all the oceans there is nothing faster, more cunning, or more savage than these killers. But they often even capsize boats. Would this one find a way to get us? I wondered how long our air would last. I remembered that these whales were known to kill anything, even sperm whales 3 times their size, and that they couldn't be bluffed or frightened. Doug estimated that he had 6 minutes of air left. Mala probably had less. We were in a deadly game of cat and mouse. The cat was 30 feet long, and we were the mice. The killer seemed to be circling away. Was this just a trick, or had he gone? I signaled Doug and Mala not to move while I slipped out to investigate. I was taking a desperate chance, but in a few minutes we would all run out of air. I decided to swim cautiously around a slight bend in the cliff before surfacing for a look. It was then that Doug made a fatal mistake. Knowing that Mala was almost out of air was more than he could bear. He disregarded my instructions and left the cave. I supposed that he'd hoped to swim to the boat and bring back another diving lung. He came up by the net. He looked around and saw nothing. And he decided to swim for the boat. When he saw the whale, it was too late. The whale passed under him and turned around. Doug swam for the boat with all his might. But it was hopeless. The killer took him in one gulp. Meanwhile, I swam back to the cave. I hadn't seen the whale or Doug. Mala had no air left, so I gave her some of mine. I figured that we could reach the surface if we shared the air in my tank, and if the killer didn't get us. We moved up as quietly as we could, passing the mouthpiece back and forth. Then I saw something which told me that we would probably be safe. Porpoises, one of the favorite victims of the killer whale.
There they are, porpoises.
But the killer.
That's what I mean. There he goes. He's after them now. They saved our life.
My course, Doug.
Must be on the boat.
Doug, are you there? Doug! We never got here!
W8421 of the Coast Guard. W8421 of the Coast Guard. Come in, Coast Guard.
Go ahead, WA4210.
A killer whale has just attacked this boat. A crew of 3 skin divers on the Lorient Cliff. When last seen, the killer whale was heading northwest. One man probably killed by the animal.
My message to the Coast Guard set in motion a vast operation. Within seconds, warnings were radioed to all coastal installations in the region. From all directions, Coast Guard boats and helicopters converged on the area. Every search device was used. Thousands of unsuspecting bathers had to be warned, and countless small craft at sea. One small boat had already been attacked, with one man overboard and missing.
Let her cry, it'll help her. In 50 years at sea, I've seen killer whale a dozen times close up. They're vicious.
They ought to be destroyed, every last one of them. And with this one prowling the coast, no skin diver or small boat is going to be safe.
My last 7 years, I was mate to Bob McKay on his motor schooner. That was the days when shark liver brought a good price. Basking shark. Some of them 40-footers. More than once, we'd almost had our shark boated when the carcass be torn away by one of them killers. Torn, my boy. My son.
Lars, I'm going to find that killer whale, the one at Loring Cliff, and I'm going to kill him.
It's a big ocean. Even the Coast Guard hasn't been able to sight him.
Maybe that's because they've been looking for him where he's been, not where he's going to be.
Where? You said yourself he was headed for open water.
The cup's been very heavy this year on the offshore islands, especially at St. Denis.
I know.
You know what that means?
Sure. Herring in big shoal coming in early.
And big herds of seal coming in, too.
Yeah, they've always followed the herring.
That's where they're most likely to be feeding, at St. Denis. Because of the rocks. That right, Lars?
Sure. Seal meat. That's what the killer whale likes best.
That's where I'll find him. Off the St. Denis rocks, raiding the seal herd. Well, how am I going to get him when I find him? My .38 carbine won't even dent him.
How about a harpoon gun? The one we used on Bob McKay's boat to take shark.
You got one?
I'll get it. Bob McKay still has it down at Fort Clement. He lives with his son down there.
Wait.
I'll get the one.
Lars, I'm going with you.
Wait a minute now. Wait. Sit down, Lars. This is no job for you.
Oh, I know.
Now you, Muller. I'm going to go over and get that harpoon gun at Bob McKay's right now. By tomorrow morning, I'll be on my way to St. Denis Island.
Mike, I'm going with you tomorrow.
No, Muller.
I'm going. For us, Lars.
At 7 o'clock the next morning, we were almost ready to shove off for St. Denis Island. Old Bob McKay had loaned me his harpoon gun, and his son Will had offered to come with me to help. I gladly accepted because although I've used many weapons, I never shot one like this before.
Isn't that Doug Anderson's cruiser?
It's his widow's now. What about this gun?
Does it work all right?
When was the last time you fired it?
A few weeks ago. We take it down to the beach and fire it every once in a while. Pa gets a kick out of it. He designed it. See, the explosive shell fits in the head. The barb's attached to the head. They both fit onto the end of the harpoon shaft. Now, when the head penetrates, it explodes.
Now, what's the range of this gun?
Extreme, 100 feet. You got to get closer to get any penetration.
Explode this anywhere near its vital organs, we're gonna have to drive this thing through 5 or 6 feet of bone and muscle.
And we should fire from 50 feet.
Stow this gear, I will.
Right.
WA-1005, Mike Nelson.
Mike, this is Mala. I'm at the Coast Guard station.
Mrs. Anderson will be ready for you in a moment.
They asked me to come down here. Don't go without me.
Mala, I told you before, this is no job for you. Now stay home, huh?
A body was washed up near Lorient Cliff. They want me to identify it. I've a right to go with you, Mike. Doug was my husband. The whale killed him. I've got to see that thing dead.
Mrs. Anderson.
Mala, please, be intelligent about this, huh?
Mike, you've got to wait for me.
This way, please.
Mala! Mala! That was Mala. Couldn't talk her out of coming along.
This is no trip for a woman. That whale charged the boat yesterday. Could do the same today.
Let's shove off before she gets here, huh?
Right.
Mrs. Anderson.
No, it's not Doug.
Oh, I'm sorry to have to put you through this. Must have been the man who was knocked off the small boat yesterday.
Goodbye, Lieutenant. I've got to hurry.
Take him down to the morgue.
St. Denis Island. We'll approach it from the north.
I don't see any seals. You sure this is where they come?
If that killer gets within a quarter of a mile of here, you'll see him climb those rocks for safety. There'll be hundreds of them. You won't be able to see the rocks for the seals. And I just where I want to put that gun. Now, let's get it on the dinghy and get ashore, huh? That's where they'll be coming up, right down there. You want to be able to cover that spit of rocks, too. I've seen them come up there sometimes.
I don't know, that's kind of far. Almost 100 feet. This way it's no more than 50.
Well, anyway, this is where most of them will be. This is where the killer will be, too, sooner or later. Because he'll try to slaughter them all. Hey. Something heading in this way, coming fast. Take a look. Over this way a little. About 250 yards out. You see him?
Seals, hundreds of them.
Yeah, and you're just looking at the middle of the parade. Look over here. They're the leaders.
Boy, they sure are in a hurry to get out of the water.
Yeah, they're scared.
The killer whale?
Yeah, there he is. Oh, you can never mistake that fin. It's about 6 feet high and curved like a sword. Well, the herring takes the kelp, the seal takes the herring, and the killer whale takes the seal, and we take the killer whale.
Just listen to them. Boy, they sure are scared.
Yeah. They know the killer's out there.
That one's sure acting kind of strange.
stand waiting for the killer to attack. And that's what he's gonna do. Just watch, right out there. There he goes. Psychological warfare.
Boy, look at them panic.
Fear drives him right off the rocks and into his jaws.
He's coming in closer now.
You're gonna wait till you get a shot broadside, aren't you?
Yeah.
Good. To fin that high out of the water, you ought to place that harpoon about 3 feet below the waterline, don't you think?
Yep.
Oh, he sure is coming in all right.
Spin's coming up higher. He's only about 150 feet out now.
Don't fire until... Hold it. That's Mal, isn't it? Mal! Mal! Come back, Mara! Come back! The killer! The killer! Go back! Go back! What happened? What's the matter? Go on!
My propeller's caught in the seaweed!
Mike, the killer's behind you! Mike, watch out! Will! Get him the next time he jumps!
Our revenge was complete. But nothing could replace Doug. The sea had taught us another of its costly lessons.
Hello there. I'm Lloyd Bridges. You know, 3/5 of the world is covered by the sea. And how little most of us know about that underwater world. Go below with us again next week, huh? For another thrilling adventure in Sea Hunt.
sea is full of natural wonders, but some of the strangest things in it were devised by men, like the two-man submarine that I was testing with my friend Bill Kruger. Strange as the sub was, the way I would soon use it was even stranger. In a cove near San Diego, we were giving the midget sub a real workout. Bill was developing it to sell to the Navy. He'd done a good job. With its silent electric motor, it could carry 2 men, equipped with diving lungs, about 15 miles at a fair speed. It still had some flaws. The doors, designed for quick escape in emergencies, were sometimes opened by changes in pressure. And the controls weren't perfect yet. I enjoyed helping Bill, especially as I could see the value of this small craft for surprise attacks and secret missions. Not that I intended to go on any. I figured those days were in the past for me. I thought that we were testing the sub secretly, but I was mistaken.
About to beach her.
Well, what do you think of her now?
She answers nicely to controls now, but we still got a little work to do on pitch characteristic. I got an idea. We'll get it back in the shop and I'll show you what I mean.
Oh, okay.
Which one is Nelson?
The one with the rope.
Do you think you can get him to do it?
You, not me. I got no part of this. You know, it could cost him his life.
Laszlo is willing to do it.
Well, Laszlo's got his own reasons. I don't think Nelson will go for it. But then you're a very pretty girl.
Men don't do things like this just because a woman smiles at them.
Some do.
Hey, is there somebody up there?
I don't know. Take a look, see. For you?
I was on my way down to the beach.
Yeah?
I wanted to...
Get a closer look? I'm sorry, miss. Our equipment we're testing isn't for public demonstration.
I know that, but you are Mike Nelson, aren't you?
Yeah, that's my name.
Mr. Nelson, I need you and your submarine.
Submarine? So, you were watching us, huh? What's your name?
Maria Benzo.
You live around here?
Yes, I stay at Bayside Hotel.
Bayside Hotel? Where's that?
Oh, well, the address is on the door here. Somewhere here. Oh, here it is.
Mind if I look at your binoculars?
I guess you got quite a look at our sub, huh?
But I wasn't spying.
Then you wouldn't mind if I kept these for a while, would you?
Why? What for?
For your fingerprints. A federal agent might be interested in this.
Maria.
Who are you?
Federal agent?
Now, why all the mystery? Why didn't you tell me that you were a federal agent?
Oh, she isn't. But there's no official connection between her and me. I just brought her to you as, say, a personal favor.
Why?
Because we have access to privately owned submarine.
Well, what's that got to do with it?
Did you tell him who your father is?
Hey, Mike, is everything all right?
Yeah, okay, Bill. Be away in a minute.
You see, my father is John Wenzel, the astronomer and mathematician.
John Wenzel? He's more dangerous to this country than the H-bomb.
But suppose he were working for the United States. For this country, I mean.
What do you mean?
Mr. Nelson, I would like that you help my father to escape to this country. That submarine you've been testing would be just ideal for our plan.
Well, what your plan is, Miss Wenzel, but, it seems to me that it's more of a job for your outfit than for me.
Our hands are tied. Our government maintains a supposedly friendly relationship with this country.
Well, I wish you luck, Miss Wenzel, Mr. Rawson. But count me out, Cloak and dagger is not my line. That's it.
Oh, Mr. Nelson.
After I left Bill and returned to the Marineland Pier, another surprise was waiting for me on the dock.
Mr. Nelson. Yeah? May I speak to you for a moment?
What do you want? What can I do for you?
I should like to consult you professionally.
Wait a minute, aren't you, isn't your name Eugene Laszlo? Last year's Nobel Prize winner in physics?
Guilty. Will you join me?
That's my pleasure.
The scientific ship on which Jan Wenzel will be is scheduled to leave Vladivostok midnight, June the 12th. It will proceed so, down the Sea of Japan into the Pacific, turning immediately to the 40th meridian of latitude here. It will then proceed easterly on the same meridian. On July the 12th, the ship will reach the 180th meridian of longitude here.
What's the mission of this ship?
To track the orbit of the Earth's newest artificial satellite from a certain given position.
It's a spot right here, where you're going to take Wenzel off the ship.
That'll be our best chance.
It's about 3,000 miles from Japan, about 2,000 from Hawaii. Boy, that's in the middle of nowhere.
Exactly. They will be least suspicious then of an attempt to rescue Wenzel.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. Tell me, how accurate is all this information that you have?
Completely accurate. To the last dot.
I believe you gentlemen have met.
Yes, I believe we have.
How are you?
Mr. Rawson.
Mr. Rawson has checked my information carefully.
Through our own channels. It's 100% accurate.
Tell me, how do you propose to reach the rendezvous point?
A fishing vessel from Midway Island.
Tell me this. Why a midget submarine? Why not use a rubber landing raft to get from the fishing boat to Wenzel's ship?
Because the ship will be under security. Its radar would reveal the approach of the surface boat.
Well, what about sonar? That'll detect a submarine.
In shark-infested waters, their sonar would easily mistake your submarine for a fish.
Well, suppose that you finally do manage to come alongside of this ship. A person can't just go wandering around a hostile ship looking for John Wenzel.
That brings us to how the whole project started.
It started with me.
Miss Wenzel. Hello again.
I'm sorry I went about it in the wrong way. I should have let Professor Laszlo approach you first.
Mr. Nelson was just raising the question of how
I heard about the ship my father will be on. You see, the naval architect who designed the ship escaped to America 6 months ago. He drew the plan of it from memory for me. Since we know that my father is head of the mission, we know exactly in which cabin he will be and how to reach it. Well, have you told Mr. Nelson about plan?
Everything. But he hasn't said he would help us.
Well, I have no right to urge you, Mr. Nelson, because you'll be risking your life. I can only ask.
There's no money in it. The government can't even give you a medal.
I'll go with you.
No, your life is too valuable.
Not in this cause.
You know, for something like this, I don't think that Bill Kruger would mind if I risked his submarine.
I'll do it.
Mr. Nelson, wonderful.
An ocean liner took us the first 2,000 miles of our trip. The sub, with its delicate equipment, had to be watched every minute, especially when we moved it. In Honolulu, we transferred to a smaller vessel.
Keep it coming. Okay, Doc. Good. Easy now. Easy, easy, easy. That's it. Good, good, Doc.
While I checked and rechecked the equipment, I wondered if Maria's information would prove accurate. And even if it did, my chances of success looked slim. But I had made my choice. During the long days at sea, I had plenty of time to memorize the plans of Dr. Wenzel's ship. Finally, we reached our destination, dropped anchor, and could make out our target several miles away, just where we expected it. That evening, we lowered the sub alongside, and our weeks of preparation came to an end. Now everything was up to this strange craft, and to me. First few miles, I stayed close to the surface. The sub handled well, but I had no way of knowing if the ship's sonar would detect my approach. I kept my course straight for the ship. When I had come in as close as I thought I could near the surface, I began a deep descent. Again, right alongside the ship, slipped out of the sub, and quietly swam to the boat. Unfortunately, the moon was bright. It was late at night, and the ship looked deserted. As a cloud covered the moon, I climbed over the rail. There was no one on deck, but the moon was out again, so I had to get below quickly. And thanks to Maria's plans, I knew exactly where to go.
Who's that?
Oh, shh! I'm from your daughter, Maria. Listen to me. I'm from your daughter, Maria.
My daughter?
Yes.
And my friend reached America? Reached Maria?
Yes, I've come to get you off.
But here in the middle of the Pacific, how did you?
I'll explain. Now, this is...
And how do I know that you're really from her?
Here.
Oh, yes. Yes, my little baby. I remember. But how did you get on and how are we to get off?
All right, I've got a small submarine tied into the stern. Now, this is what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to breathe through this.
Oh, this is the diving lung. I'm familiar with its principle, but not its use.
Well, I'm going to give you a fast lesson. First, this mask, huh? Put it like this over your nose, huh? You try it. That'll be the best way. Take off your glasses.
Yeah, I'm in your hands.
Right here. Be sure that it fits tight against your face, huh? No, below your nose. So that no water will get into your nose, and so that you'll be able to see. If any water does get in there, press tight, lightly there. That's right, and exhale hard through your nose, like this. That's good. Now that'll bring the water down to the bottom of the mask here. All right, now the mouthpiece here. Let me take this off. But remember, you won't be able to breathe through your nose because you'll have this on all the time, all the way in your mouth, and grip those little things with your teeth. That's it. Now suck in. No, not so fast. Just normally. Just normally. That's right. And never hold your breath.
Suppose water gets into my mouth by accident.
If that happens, blow hard like this through the mouthpiece. That's right. That'll drive it out. Then just continue sucking as you did before. That's all there is to it.
But where's my tank with the air?
It's in the submarine. You think you got it?
I think so. Shall I take off my clothes?
No, you're going to be exposed to the water. This will help keeping your body heat.
Oh, good. Now let's go.
One moment.
There's a question here, Wenzel, which I
was about to retire. Can't it wait until morning?
It is a simple question. It wouldn't take a minute. Now, I had it here a moment ago. My calculations agreed with yours. So I went over your figures. I knew we couldn't be so far apart in our final results. Now, where is this particular place? It was
let's
somewhere
correct it
here.
in the morning, huh?
No. It is here somewhere. I'll get it. Now, the way you have written this factor, Wenzel, something is leaking.
We are not sinking now. What was it?
But,
it was from the towel. It fell into the sink, and it was dripping. Now, you're absolutely wrong about my making an error.
Everybody makes mistakes. Now, look for yourself.
But of course, you are perfectly right. I should have written the angle of declination as plus 906.8.
I caught you for once.
My apologies, Gordon.
I never thought I'll see the day.
I hope this is the last mistake I make on this voyage. Good night, Gordon.
Good night.
Thanks. I shall go first. At each turn, I shall signal whether it's clear.
All right.
I just wanted to ask you.
Give me something to try and gag him with.
Please, let go of him. Please, there are stronger ties than a rope. Let him go. I'm sorry, Gordon, but you surprised us. But what? This man has come to spirit me off the ship in a submarine to America.
Incredible.
No, but we were about to go when you came in.
Quickly. I suppose it is credible.
The only question, Gordon, will you let us go peacefully?
Will you take me too? No, I'm sorry. There's only room for two of us in the boat.
Then, good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Perhaps my turn will come too. Good evening.
Professor.
Do you have a match? Thank you. It's a beautiful night. It's only here, away from the city, one can see the real beauty of nature. And look, when we will be able to travel with the speed of light, it will take us 100,000 years to go from one end of the Milky Way to another.
Yes.
And another thing, when we look at the stars, we look not only into the distance, but back into time.
What's that?
It's the fish.
Seem to come from the stern.
No, it comes from over there. Here, what did I tell you? It's the fish. It is Shayot and Triangulus or Holocanthus. They're Canthus. I have never seen one. Have you?
But I see something down there.
No, it is the fish, you know. The fish. Don't you so? Wait!
But what's that?
You see, it is the Delphinus dephis, or the common dolphin.
But I heard a splash.
Ah, they are very playful, you know.
Good night, Professor.
Good night.
It took some time to get Dr. Wenzel's diving lung adjusted and for him to get used to it. And we went off as fast as the sub could go. A few hours later, we were alongside another ship. It wasn't very different from the other, but this one meant freedom for Dr. Wenzel.
There's the Swoboda.
I waited a long time.
Welcome to the West.
Hi, I'm Lloyd Bridges, inviting you to join us for another action-packed story of underwater adventure 1 week from today.